Hey, everybody, it is Judge Karen Braxton, and we are here with your Lincoln Hall of Justice updates. And so hopefully everybody has access to this one at this point in time. I know we had some issues the last time with me connecting to YouTube Live, but hopefully we're doing okay. So I see some people are getting on right now. Um, so I do appreciate that. If we're having any trouble, for those who have my cell phone, shoot me a text. I did get some assistance, but I won't tell you who gave me the assistance just in case. I don't do it so well. I don't want them to be held responsible for trying to teach me how to use all these new social media platforms that I'm not used to. As you can see, I'm in my office right now because me and Miss Nunn are here getting a lot of work in preparation for the docket starting on Monday. So I am connected to my hotspot because the Wi-Fi in the courthouse is pretty bad. I'm hoping that this will continue. If it doesn't, for whatever reason, I'm just going to go back on and go live again. But hopefully we don't have any interruptions as we proceed through this. I had a few questions, so I'm going to try to answer everybody's questions. Keep this as short as I can, but keep it as informative as I can as well. So the first thing I want to say, for everybody that's already subscribed to my channel, I sincerely appreciate it. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, if you would be so kind to do so, I would greatly appreciate that as well. I'm going to continue to provide these updates as long as we are out on our mandatory furlough. As of right now, the furlough ends on April 30th. So we are expected to return sometime shortly after that. We will get updates as late as the day before or the night before we're supposed to return. But as I get the updates, I'll provide them to you. I also want to thank my team as we're about to go live. Ms. Nunn, who is not making an appearance today, but she is in her office. She is working diligently to close all the cases that we needed to close out, process all the orders appropriately, getting all my court reports ready to go so I can be ready for court at home on Monday, but she's keeping me together as she always does. So I want to thank her. I want to thank and give some credit to Ms. Dorch, who is my court reporter, who has agreed to go to Zoom. We've had some trouble with it, but we are working on it. I'm greatly appreciative for my AA, Darlene Covington, who's been assisting me with the orders throughout this process. And then my corporal, who hasn't been with me, he got sent to the jail. So hopefully he's okay. And we're going to continue to send up our prayers for him as he is exposed to whatever is going on in Wayne County Jail. I also appreciate my APA, Mr. Bethal, and my Attorney General, who is Mr. Smith. And they've been working diligently to contact all the parties, get everything that we need in order, and be ready for our proceedings on Monday. So I'm excited. I'm nervous, but we're going to get it going no matter what. I also want to send a special thank you to all of the DHHS team members, to all of the CMOs, all the private agencies, all the people who have been responding to all of my emails, making sure we get everything with this new format, going back and forth, confusion with my policies and what notices are being sent out. So I am so grateful for all of the support that you all have given me as we try to go live with our courtroom on Monday. Again, bear with us. We're doing the best we can with this new technology, and we're going to keep trying to get more smooth with it as we progress. I did have one request that I sent out. That is, please do not contact Ms. Nunn. Not that she doesn't want to talk to you. It's only because when we're in here together, especially, we are working hard to get our docket set. We've already started resetting our cases from March 16th. We're going to do them one day at a time. So if your hearing was April 2nd or something like that, you're not going to get a call anytime, in the next couple of days. If your hearing was March 16th, either it was closed out or we're going to be contacting you in the next day or so. So just please give her some space to do the job that she's doing. She is working diligently, and she's in here every day, even when other people are not in this building, during the mandatory furlough, pushing through these orders for the attorneys, making sure everything is entered in the system quite well in the way they're actually supposed to be entered. So I'm extremely grateful for her. So if she hasn't called you, don't ask when your next court hearing is going to be. Trust me, when we reset it, she's going to give you a call. So, hey, Miss Dunn, And hey, Mr. Dillon. Zoom format, I'm learning it. I'm going to be real honest with you. I've been in Zoom conference hearings, but I've never been the Zoom host. So I'm learning how to play with the waiting room, learning how to play with um, the breakout rooms, doing the best I can. So again, just be patient. We are recording the Zoom hearings on Zoom, but I also have my court reporter present via Zoom. And so we'll have those two methods of reporting while we are doing our hearing. So just keep that in mind. One person speak at a time, use the raise the hand feature. If I have to mute everybody if there's too much background. But we did a hearing last week. It went okay. There were some connection issues, but I think overall it went okay. So I think it's going to be fine going forward. We are supposed to be live streaming our hearings, so they're considered public. I'm not going to start live streaming them yet because I just want to work all the kinks out. And then as it relates to to neglect cases being live streamed on YouTube, I'm not going to do them at all because we are dealing with sensitive cases. So I will exercise my discretion in certain situations and not live stream some of these hearings, depending on what is going on in the hearing. So just keep that in mind. If at any point in time I am doing that, I will let the parties know up front. And that's whether we're recording, because we do have to record via Zoom, and I have to put that on the record as whether we're recording via Zoom. So those announcements will be made prior to each hearing. Last week, there was a request for information as it relates to drug court. I'm excited to say we are going live with drug court on Monday, starting at 3:30. We're going to do them by Zoom. All of our kids are receiving their service is the same way we're doing them through a lot of these video conferencing things. So they're still doing the sessions that they're required to do. And then they're going to start meeting with us on a regular basis. They meet with their POs the exact same way during the week, their therapists and everybody else they're meeting with. So we're excited that drug court is going to be back up and running on Monday. So I got my stack of questions. That's what you always see me looking over at because I am trying to make sure I answer all the questions that I got. For all the people that submitted them early, cheers to you. For all the people that were submitting them 15 minutes ago, maybe I got them, maybe I didn't, because I am in the office trying to get some work done. So I wasn't exactly monitoring Facebook, but I will go back on it before I end it and try to make sure I answer everybody's questions that posted one. I do appreciate all the questions. I couldn't do this without you. So thank you for the questions. Lastly, make sure you stay tuned until the end because I have a special announcement and I'm really excited to make this announcement. So make sure you hang on to the end. So let's get into the questions. Hi to Ms. Martin, Barbara Saffron, Muriel Schillingford, Cynthia Check. And I'm going to yell to Ms. Nunn because she said she's not coming in here with me. But Ms. Nunn, everybody's telling you hi as well. And she is waving to everybody from her office. So there was a question about the AWOL docket on the abuse neglect cases. Obviously, that is only for the presiding judge. So you actually have to contact the presiding judge's office as it relates to that docket. Unfortunately, today, most of what I'm reporting is going to be specifically on my docket because it's coming up today. For the questions that I saw in advance, I did try to get the answers from administration. If I couldn't get those answers, I can't provide those to you. So I apologize in advance. But as for that docket, that has to go directly to the presiding judge, who is Judge Edward Joseph, and I don't have any information about that. Oh, my judge is on here. So then Judge Miller is on here. So if anybody's leaving a notice, make sure you say hi to her too. If you don't hear from your attorney, I believe this is from Ms. McGrew, what do? Still submit the reports. You have their information. And I think that was a question as well. And I probably should have gone through these in a different order. I sent out all of the contacts for the private bar, as well as the contacts for the pods, all of the pods, to the supervisors of the CMOs. So your supervisor has that information. If she doesn't have that information, shoot me another email and I will make sure that it's forwarded out to you. But that information was shared with the supervisors of of each of the CMOs earlier this week, I believe. So even if you don't hear from the attorney, if you have a hearing that's set and you have your report, which I hope you do. And by the way, if I haven't gotten your report for next week, go ahead and start sending them over to me right now, please. And thank you, because I want to print before I go back home. send the information out to Mr. Bethal, send it to the court, always send it to myself and to Ms. Nunn, and send it to the defense attorney. You're not responsible for ensuring that they get it, as in do they open it up and read it, but if they're the defense attorney that's listed on there, we will ensure that they have the reports. I did invite the defense attorneys to view this live cast, this is called live stream. So hopefully they're on here too. So if you have a case and you haven't heard from the case manager, maybe reach out to that CMO and see where that report is. But I have to praise my CMOs right now. Everybody has done everything that I have requested, and they are working hard. And so I sincerely appreciate it. So if you haven't gotten it, there may be just some kind of mix up. So Ms. McGrew, if you haven't heard from the attorney, send it to the attorney anyway, and make sure you send it to the court so we can all have it and be ready to go. For my defense attorneys that are on here, I tell everybody all the time, I'm a defense attorney at heart. That's what I did before here. We are making sure our entries are right. I do not know about extraordinary fees or anything else, but if there was a request that you made over the time that we have been on furlough and we had to enter in anything into the system, terminating the case, I think we did some de-escalations and some things like that. Ms. Pat has gone back in all of those hearings and put a hearing in and processed it with an order. And I want to just kind of like compliment myself because I had to learn how to do orders myself. So I want to give a shout out to my best friend and the best referee in this building, referee Brandy Taylor, who's my team referee, who sat on the phone with me for 1 hour to do a 1-page order that she can do in probably 3 minutes. And it took me an hour. So we're making sure that regardless of what administration decides to do as it relates to the extraordinary fees or payment, we're making sure that whatever you did, you at least get the hearing in the system and it is processed in that way. So that should be automatically generated for you. An update on the truancy cases. And I know this has been pretty confusing, so I'll try to get through this. Any truancy case that was scheduled between March 16th and April 17th, which is today, I asked all my CMOs to let me know which cases they wanted to keep open, but because schools are closed, I have closed out all of the cases that there were no objections either by Mr. Bethal, the APA, or the CMOs. So most of those cases are gone. As it relates to the new pretrials they were set, those cases were in fact dismissed with a hearing, but dismissed nonetheless. I did speak to APA McRae. She is going to reach out to the schools in September to see if the youth has gotten on track or if they're still struggling with their attendance, or maybe not in September, but later in the school year. And they're going to refile those cases if they need to be refiled. If they need to be refiled, Madam Clerk, Ms. Nunn knows to reassign them to the same group of attorneys or whatever attorney was assigned to the case. So it will not be reassigned. But unfortunately, most of those truancy cases have been closed at this time, or they will be closed in a relatively short period of time. We're working on doing that right now. We are not accepting any new petitions, obviously, because nobody's in school and there is no requirement to participate in the online curriculum that is being offered by a lot of the districts. It's recommended, it's encouraged, but they cannot enforce it, so nor can we. So truancy is going to be on hold realistically probably until January of 2021. School year should start in September, but we typically don't see petitions for that school year until the following, usually what is that, the second semester going into the second or third quarter. So truancy, as we have known it, has gone away. As far as my docket, we are starting on April 20th, which is Monday. If you have a hearing scheduled on Monday, be ready to hear the case on Monday. I did share, I think, with Mr. Shreedman, and he shot out something to JT Law with our Zoom hearing ID, so everybody can log on. I know all of the CMOs have it as well. Everybody that doesn't have it, if you have my email or my cell phone number, feel free to text or email me. Hey, Mr. Wash, Ms. Shillingford, Ms. McGrew. Ms. McGrew, you were late and I answered your questions already. We'll go back at the end. Unless she was just sending me a message, but she's been on here the whole time, but I can't really tell, so excuse me for that. Anything that happened between March 16 and April 17, as either has been closed if it was truancy and there was no objection by Mr. Bethal or the CMOs, um, or we are rescheduling. Again, do not call Ms. Nunn. She is calling as we reschedule them. So today we worked on March 16th among a ton of other things. We've been here since about, I don't know, 8:30 or so this morning. So we're working on a lot of things to get ready for the docket. And it's hard to maintain the docket and have to clean up something for the last 5 weeks. So we are working diligently to get that done. So if you had a hearing up until the 17th, it will be rescheduled if it has not been closed. If you get a call, that means that's a reschedule. If you don't get a call, that case was closed. That's the easiest way for me to say it. The cases from the 20th, we are doing them. Right now, we're doing our stats and our reviews on both ends, abuse, neglect, as well as the JJ delinquency side. We are talking about trying to do some pre-trials, but it's going to be on a limited basis, but I'll keep you updated on that as well. We are anticipating again that we'll open at the end of the month, early next month, but I'll keep you posted. As it relates to referee hearings, right now, there are no court reporters. If you know, the judges have their assigned court reporters. The referees do not. They either have the video system, which I think maybe referee Wilson and referee Evans has. The other referees record their own delinquency hearings, and then they rotate the court reporters for the neglect hearings. So right now we don't have anything as it relates to the referees going live, but I will keep you posted with that as well. I get tons of questions about adoptions. Again, that won't come from me directly. I do understand that they are working to reopen some of the adoption filings and practices. As of right now, we have not been able to, or I should say administration has not been able to figure out how that's going to function. So as of today, there's nothing happening. I have a hearing, I think Monday, where I've already signed the adoption paperwork. It hasn't been processed. So technically, we still have to have a hearing. Even I think Ms. Nunn adjourned it for us just in case, but still no updates on adoptions. Again, contact for the private bar, and I see Risa, Janet, Mark Shreeman is here now. I gave you all their information. So and when I say you all, I mean the CMO supervisor. So if you didn't get it, blame it on your supervisor. Even though I don't want to blame anything on them right now because they have been absolutely amazing, but I can send that information out again. And I'm going to throw him under the bus since I see he's commenting. And Miss Janet, I don't know if she's in town right now. She travels a lot, but I'm hoping she's in town now. Miss Janet, I believe, is the president of JT Law. And if I'm correct, if somebody can give me a high five or something so I know. And then I know Mr. Shreeman has the list and can send that out. So if you have any issues reaching any of the defense attorneys, reach out to one of those two parties to get that information. Again, if you need the list again, I'll send it out to you. Mark Shreeman gave me a yes, and Risa says she's in town. I'm glad you're here and safe. So reach out to one of those two parties that can get you that information so you can have some contact with the defense attorneys prior to hopefully the court hearing if you need it. I'm going to try to scroll and not make a mess because I see that Ms. Dunn asked about interpreters. So Ms. Nunn is trying to work with court reporting services to see what the process will be as it relates to interpreters for hearings. We do not have a response. So for me, and this is just me, I am going to be resetting those hearings as they come up. So I'm not rescheduling all of them right now. But if I had one, let's say to Monday, we don't have a response, we will be resetting that hearing. So if we can't get a response from them and see if they're working or if they're available via Zoom for us to transcribe the hearings, then we can't do those hearings. I'm not sure how we would do that because technically they would have to be on a call as well as on a Zoom conference so they could communicate what we're saying to the parent, but then also be able to communicate with the court. So that is going to be interesting, but we are learning how to navigate all of these things anyway. So, Miss Nunn is working on it. Like I said, she's working on a lot of things, and I'm so happy to have her. She is truly a blessing to me. So, when I get an update on the interpreters, I will let you know. But as of right now, I don't. I think we had a question about one case, and we ended up not needing that interpreter. But we're still looking into what the process is going to be as far as the interpreters are concerned. So those were all the questions that I think I had. I'm going to cheat and go on Facebook real fast because one of my favorites was sending me messages at the last minute and make sure that I didn't miss anybody's question. And if I didn't miss anybody's question, then I can make my special announcement, finish up with Miss Pat, and finally get out of here. While I'm looking, I will tell you I have worked harder from home than I have ever worked in this building. So thank you all for keeping me nice and busy. I sincerely appreciate it. Um, a truancy hearing scheduled for the 21st of what month? So I see the question, but I don't know what month you're referring to. If it was a truancy hearing from March 21st, if that was a weekday, that is going to be rescheduled. If it is a truancy hearing for anytime upcoming March, oh, let's see, I can cheat. You all are pretty fast, a lot faster than me. April 21st? No, we're doing it on April 21st. So whatever your report says, we're going to have a hearing just like we would have a hearing on any other day. If I don't have your report yet, can you please send it? Because I want to get as many reports as I can get before I go home. I have a home office, but it is not set up for court. And more importantly, I don't have Miss Pat with me at home. So the more I can get organized while I'm here, the more helpful it will be for me going forward. I think that was everything. So now I'm going to make my special announcement because I'm really excited. I work with some awesome people and some very like-minded people. We have been off or will be off. Oh, today is Friday. We have been off for 5 weeks on a paid furlough, and we are grateful that we've been able to be out on a paid furlough. However, we recognize that we were not elected and or appointed to be on paid furloughs. The State Court Administrative Office and the Supreme Court has made Zoom recording an available platform for us to do hearings given the pandemic. No, Mr. Shreedman, the breakout rooms are not being recorded. And thank you, Rita, for sending out the info to JT Law. And hi, too. Although we have been working from home trying to figure out what we're going to do, when you truly love the job that you're doing, you know that unless you're seeing your kids and the workers and everybody, the attorneys, you're not really doing the job that you're being paid to do, or the job, more importantly, you took an oath to do. So I have been talking about starting my docket for the last couple of weeks on Monday. And my special announcement is that two of my colleagues have also decided to start doing their hearings on next week. So that is the Honorable Cynthia Latoy Miller, and I'm going to say her whole name because that's how she likes it, and the Honorable Frank Szymanski. So you will have to contact them directly. I do not have the authority to speak on their behalf. I did get their permission to make that announcement because I was so excited, and I just got a yes from Judge Miller. We are so excited to be back. We can't see you. We can't touch you the same way. Everybody knows I joke from the bench all day. And all I can do now is joke behind this screen, whether it's in my house or here or wherever it is. But we sincerely miss all of y'all, and we miss what we do, and we miss working with these kids, good or bad, because we're always looking for the positive side of what happens in the juvenile court. And those positive outcomes are worth all the bad days that you have in this building. And so I'm ready to go live on Monday, and I was just elated when I found out that my colleagues, yes, Mr. Shreeman, I agree, but I'm not going to even say what you said. I'm so excited that two of my colleagues are willing to step out and try to figure this out. A disclaimer for all three of us: we don't really know what we're doing with this stuff. We've never done Zoom hearings. I don't know any judges that have done Zoom hearings before this pandemic. They're doing them now, but we're all trying to figure this out. So I'm trying to be patient with everybody on how, where you are in the waiting room and if your phone is working or you got all the kids in the background. But you have to be patient with us too, because like Mr. Shreeman knows, we did a hearing, I think Wednesday. I couldn't send somebody to a waiting room to save, or the break room to save my life. Then I sent the wrong people to the break room. Mr. Shreeman, the break rooms, I think, are not recorded, but I will check on that on my settings when I get out of this, once I get out of this live stream. So we're excited, but we're nervous. We don't know how this is going to work. We know that Zoom is making a recording of us, not just audio. It's a video recording. So if everybody knows me, I kind of have some interesting facial responses to different things. And when I can't figure something out, I'm like leaning into the camera, getting closer, and I'm really just trying to type and figure out what I'm doing. So we are just simply requesting your patience with us as we navigate this Zoom system, the recordings, the breakout rooms, the waiting rooms, how many people are going to be here. Yeah, we have big dockets, and I don't know where everybody's going to wait, and I don't know how long it's going to take, but we're ready. We're ready. And we don't think we should sit here any longer and make the residents of Wayne County wait for us to figure this out. So we're going to navigate it with you. We've practiced with each other. We have laughed, we have teased each other about trying to figure out what we're doing. If you're not reading Judge Miller's post, she is asking all of the attorneys, please do your best to ensure that you get your clients on the Zoom calls early, and please do your best to check with them about their ability to access in advance. No, Ms. Check, you cannot transfer all the cases. I think I can answer for Judge Miller. Oh, I'm sorry. Judge Miller is updating me. Judge Kavanaugh is going live next week too. So we're getting updates as we're doing this live update. And I think if I get a chance to do some updates next week, one of the things we'll talk about is kind of what's going right and what's going wrong with the Zoom hearings. And I am open, and I can only imagine that my colleagues are open as well to what's going well, what's not going so well, what can we do differently, what can we do to improve? Give us a couple of good things. What are we doing well that's working on the Zoom hearings? Because that's good to know too. But we're just overall just ecstatic. Like I said, I've been here all day getting reports. Pat's been here all day getting reports ready. The CMOs have been flooding my emails because Judge Miller trying to teach me how to do Dropbox. And yeah, I'm the young one on the bench and can't figure this stuff out. But CMOs have been sending me the reports. The case managers have been sending me the reports all week. Even my stand people have been saying, hey, we're ready to roll. We're ready to go. We've been ready. So let's go. So we are so excited, and we hope that you are excited too. We know there are going to be some pitfalls, and we meet once a week so we can we meet once a week. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read and talk. We meet once a week to try to figure out how things are going. And there's a smaller group of us that meet as well. So we're doing the best that we can. So the question is, our regularly scheduled hearing dates with the judges stay as is? I can say that for me. I'm waiting for Judge Miller to give me an answer, and then I can answer for Judge Miller. Maybe we can do this one day. Judge Miller, obviously you're listening. Maybe the 3 and 4 of us can get together one day and kind of answer all of the questions that everybody has. People have really been interested in what we have to say about during this pandemic. So I think it would be great if all of us could get together. So if not, if I can't get an answer from Judge Miller, I'm assuming, oh, she said she'll do that with us. So, hey, Judge, while I have you on here, Are you doing your hearings as regularly scheduled starting next week? I'm waiting. I'm sure she's going to say yes. The ones we can do. Remember, we can't do all of the hearings just yet. I did speak today with the representative from the court. That's a yes from Judge Miller. So yes from Judge Miller. And what we can do is maybe if the three of us or the four of us can somehow get together between now and at some point next week, we can either go live or maybe just put a video up and just provide some information. I'll put another post up on Facebook. You can ask some more questions about the other dockets, and we can go from there. Just a report, and I'm sure you all can read it, but Judge Miller has indicated that she will be doing all delinquency hearings as they are currently scheduled. And she is also working in past delinquency hearings, and she will share those as quickly as share those with you as quickly as she can. So I think we're all pretty much doing the same thing, trying to get on track with next week, and then trying to navigate how to put the rest of those hearings back on the docket. For emergencies, reach out to the APAs and the AAGs. Mine have been exceptional. I can only assume that that's the same is happening with Judge Miller, who is also indicating that she will handle urgent and or essential matters on the abuse neglect docket. Reach out to the AGs and the APAs about scheduling those hearings, because we are scheduling emergency hearings. So if you have a hearing in June and the kid is kind of going crazy today, do the same thing you would if we didn't have this pandemic. You would come in and ask for a court hearing. You don't necessarily need an escalation petition if you want to continue to work with the kid, but we can try to squeeze in some hearings. Just recognize the hearings are taking a little bit longer because we got to pull people in, make sure the record is correct, put certain things on the record so we know why we're doing Zoom hearings. Seems pretty obvious today, but 10 years from now, nobody maybe will know about it. Referees, I said it earlier, Mr. Wash. I don't know when they're going to come up with something for the referees. Their issue is they have an issue of court reporting. But I can say this, and I think I didn't ask Judge Miller or Judge Shemansky, but I think I can say this. And I'm sorry, I was trying to figure out. Sarah Parker is texting me. I was like, uh-oh, did I go down again? Their issue are court reporters. The three judges, myself, Judge Miller, and Judge Shemansky, formed a subcommittee. We were authorized to form a subcommittee, and we submitted a proposal to the court, which would have to go to the Chief Judge, Tim Kinney, as well as the Executive Court Administrator, Zanelle Brown. So we are awaiting a response as it relates to, or that was one of the things in the proposal, was the issue of court reporters. And we made some suggestions on what we could do. Right now, we have not received a response to date, so I can't tell you what we are going to, or what the court is going to do. I can only speak one for me, and then I have been granted permission to speak on behalf of Judge Miller and Judge Shemansky. So like I said, Mr. Wash, I'm going to continue to try to give these updates as much as I can without interfering with the docket that we have to now catch up on, and provide updates as I receive them. If I can't do the live streams, I try to always post on Facebook, on Instagram, and on LinkedIn. And I told you I don't know how to do Twitter yet. So if you're not following me on those platforms, please feel free to do so. And again, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I would make that request that you subscribe to this channel as well, because we're going to continue to make these updates. So again, I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank the CMOs, the private agencies, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, the Defense Bar, the prosecuting attorneys, the assistant attorney generals, all the clerks that are working, all the essential team members that are here in the building trying to process and get as much work done as we can, to our deputy court administrator, who is probably somewhere close to sleeping in this building as much as he's here, to Chief Referee Catchings, who, if you were wondering who was doing all of the orders before, Chief Referee Catchings was doing every order for every courtroom up until probably today. So I do want you all to know that even though we are not physically necessarily in the building at all times, we are not just sitting back and taking this lightly. We're really trying to work to um, to get this docket back up as quickly as we can as we deal with the pandemic. I'm going to start to close out now, and Judge Miller is going to give me my reminder about social distancing. So if you, they can't come into the building right now. So we're speculating that the clerks will have to come into the building, but right now the building is not open to the public. But I will say that I hope that everyone is practicing social distancing, because although this is kind of cool that we can have court like this, I'd much rather see each of you individually in the building and laugh and joke about all of our cases or anything else that we laugh and joke about, because we all can do that. So just be safe while you are out here. If you don't have to be out, don't go out. If you have to be out, stay safe while you are out. Please practice the social distancing. I know some people want to like plant flowers and stuff. And, I'm just kind of enjoying a little bit of downtime. If you know me, I'm a diehard basketball mom, and I haven't been on the basketball court in 5 weeks. So I've been enjoying some downtime. And so I hope you enjoy some of this downtime too, because when we go back up, it is going to be a rat race for all of us. So thank you for everyone who has tuned in. Thank you for having patience last week when I could not work YouTube. Thank you to the person who assisted me. I won't say that person's name. Like I said, just in case I get it wrong in the future, I don't want y'all to hold it against that person, because I don't know what I'm doing on social media. I sincerely appreciate every one of you, and I look forward to being able to work with you for a long time. So if you plan on quitting, you have no options for the next couple of years until we get the dockets back in check. Okay. Judge Miller, you rock. I have admired you for years at the 36th District Court, and you have been one of the most amazing and most gracious judges that I have ever met in my entire life. And it is truly my honor now to be able to serve with you, although it's been my honor in the past to be able to practice in front of you. And I am honored to have you here as one of my colleagues at the Lincoln Hall of Justice. I hope you never leave this building until you decide to retire, and hopefully I'll be somewhere right behind you when all of that happens. So I think that is everything. Thank you to everyone for tuning in today. I might have to move to Fridays anyway, because we got our dockets getting back up next week. So we might just have to shift this to a Friday afternoon, depending on what the docket looks like. But it might be safe to stay on a Friday. And if we can come in and bring you a couple of us at a time to get some updates, so you can have an opportunity to ask Judge Miller questions directly, or ask Judge Shemansky, or if we can get Judge Kavanaugh to come in here and answer some questions with you, we will try to do that as well. And we will obviously give you enough notice so you know to log on. I think I've answered everything. Thanks, Mr. Shreeman. I think I've answered everything. If I haven't, shoot me an email and we will get that information to you as quickly as we can. Every part of me wanted to say anything else from any other party. See, I told y'all I'm ready to go back. Okay, with that, I am signing off. Thanks, and I can't wait to see everybody via Zoom video conference next week. Have a great weekend. Stay home and stay safe.